Hey guys, it's Sarah. You're watching Make It Between the Pages. So today, guys, I'm going to be doing my November wrap-up and my December wrap-up and my January TBR. But the November wrap-up doesn't really count because I read only one book in that month. So I'm just gonna get to the books and tell you guys what I read and what I will be reading. The only book I read in November was Dark Fever by Karen Marie Moning. Okay, so this book is essentially about a girl and her sister dies, and so her sister died in Ireland, and so she has to go to Ireland because she wants to figure out what happened to her sister, because people knows that someone killed her sister, but she wants to find out who it was. People are believing that either she killed herself or that she was raped and then something happened. I don't really remember that much, it's kind of fuzzy for me, but people are not believing that someone killed her. So she goes to find out what happened to her sister. And in going to Ireland, she finds out about Fae and that she can see Fae and that there's this other world to Fae and that she can touch Fae as well, which is extremely rare for humans to be able to touch Fae. And she just gets into this world of Fae and this guy who is trying to find this book, and essentially she's the key to finding this book. So it's just like a more of an adult novel to like a regular YA urban fantasy, like a paranormal romance or something. Essentially just more adult, but it's so good. It's like not a normal book about like urban fantasy and Fae and stuff. It's not normal at all. It's actually really cool and really weird and really gross because the Fae are so gross. Some of them are really, but essentially I really enjoyed this book. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars or 4.5 stars on Goodreads, and I highly recommend for you guys to go read it. I just really enjoyed this book and I highly recommend it for anyone that's into urban fantasy. Moving on to December, what I read in December. So there's this period where I read a whole book, one whole book. For a whole month, I read Winter by Marissa Meyer. Oh, if you guys do not know what this book's about, it is the last book in a series to the Luna Chronicles, and the Luna Chronicles is about retellings with aspects of sci-fi, and it's like futuristic, and it is so good. Oh my god, this last book in the series was so amazing. I loved the ending. Some people are saying they didn't like the ending as much. I disagree completely and totally. The ending was exactly what I wanted to the series, and I freaking loved it. I cannot say anything more than that because it's spoilers, but it's amazing, and you guys need to just binge this series because it is so good. Oh my god, I love the series. One of my favorite series of all time. And this series got me into reading sci-fi, so there's that too. So after I finished Winter, I really wanted to read a Christmas book, but I didn't want it to be focused on Christmas. I just wanted it to be mainly Christmas-like the Christmas feels you get, because after I finished Winter, it was like 3 days before Christmas, and I just really wanted a gooey and ooey feeling book. So what did I do? I picked up Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone by J.K. Rowling. The first book in the Harry Potter series. I reread it, and I loved it just as much as I did the first and the second time. It is so good, and I actually think that I might be reading one of them every month now, because I want to reread the whole series now. I don't want to reread one book. I want to reread the whole series, and I want it to go on, and I want to pace myself with reading it because I just want to get into this world again. I've missed it so much, so that's what I'm gonna do. And another thing is while reading this book, I forgot some stuff, and so I caught on to some things that I forgot, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is such a surprise for me. So it was like rereading it, but it was also finding new things while rereading it, and I just loved it so much, and I'm so glad I read it. So yeah, 5 out of 5 stars if you guys didn't guess already. Like, why would you rate a Harry Potter book under 5 stars? I don't know. After finishing Harry Potter, I just wanted something quick because I was so close to my reading goal on Goodreads. I was at like 38 books and my goal is 40. So I picked up my very first, whether you call it a graphic novel or a comic book, doesn't matter to me. I picked up The Walking Dead, Volume 1, Days Gone by Robert Kirkman and Tom Moore. I love The Walking Dead. If you guys did not know this, it's one of my favorite shows of all time. And I fell in love with zombies for some reason when I watched this show. So I heard that the beginning of the the comic series or the graphic novel series, whatever you want to call it, is also the beginning of how the show started, kind of. So it's like the same. So I just really wanted a quick and easy book to read, and so it was my first graphic novel and comic book, all rolled into one, and I freaking loved it. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. Because, like, it was amazing, but it wasn't, like, perfect. So if you guys haven't read this series or know about this Walking Dead series that is about a zombie apocalypse, and it's amazing. It is amazing. Amazing. Okay, so the last book that I read in 2015 was Crank by Ellen Hopkins. Okay, so this book is my first Ellen Hopkins book. I was scared to read this book because, one, it was told in verse and I've never read verse before, and I thought it was just going to feel like poems. It wasn't going to feel like a book. And two, the book is about a girl who gets addicted to drugs. And if you guys know me at all, I don't like reading sad stories about people getting addicted to something, because addiction to me is very complicated. Because when you're essentially addicted to something, it means that you don't care about your family, you don't care about the people that love you the most. You care more about this drug or this high or this thing than anything else. And it kind of makes me mad in a way that people can do this to themselves and to others around them. But that was before I knew what these drugs did to you. I read this book with an open mind because I'm not a very judgy person. If you know me at all, you will find me not to be judgmental at all about who you are. I don't judge people, but with this kind of subject, I'm more attuned to judging because it kind of doesn't make sense to me. Until I read this book did I understand that people, when they get addicted to something, they can't control themselves. It's about this girl who essentially she goes to visit her father because her father's not really a big figure in her life. She's always lived with her mom, her stepdad, her brother, her sister. She's not really known her father, and her parents divorced because of him being addicted to drugs. She goes to visit him for the summer, and in town she meets a guy, and she starts to fall in love with him, and she gets addicted to drugs in the process of that. And when she gets home, she starts to be this not so great person anymore, and she lets the drug control her life, and it just makes her life go downhill. I finished this book and I loved it. More because I finally understood how people got addicted to drugs and what made them have this drive to drinking or getting the high for the drug. I found out why essentially this happens to people, and it has opened my mind up to so many other things now. And I essentially think that everyone should read this book because it just opens your mind up to how people function that are like this and what makes them become this way, like what essentially drives them this way. And before this girl got addicted to drugs, she never thought of doing drugs. She never thought of drinking. She never thought of being bad, doing bad things. She was the perfect girl. She was essentially the perfect girl. She got all A's. She did her homework. She was just a good child. And then it all went downhill when she found the monster. So this book was amazing. I highly recommend it if you haven't read it already. and I gave this book a 4.5 out of 5 stars. So those were all the books that I read in December, and I finished my reading goal, which I'm so happy about. And now I'm going to move on to the books that I'm going to read in January. The first book that I'm currently reading, and I'm buddy reading with a friend of mine, The Statistical Probability of Love at First Sight by Jennifer E. Smith. That is a mouthful of a book. The book is about a boy and girl, Oliver and Hadley, and they meet at the airport, and Hadley misses her flight to go to her father's wedding. And she's going to her father's wedding in London, and the guy, Oliver, he is going to London too as well, but you're kind of like figuring out what he's going to London for in the process of this. They sit next to each other in the airplane, and in this they start to talk a lot and form some kind of a romance, and essentially this book, I'm pretty sure it's about whether you can fall in love with someone in a day, which I don't like and still love it all. But this book, it's making you not feel insta loveness. Like, so I will talk about to you guys how I think about this book after I read it, but I'm really enjoying it so far, and so is Brittany, so I'm just excited to finish this book and move on to the next book, which I'm hoping to read right after. Okay, so the movie's coming out this month, and I don't know why I haven't read this book. I've known about this book for 2 years now on BookTube, and I still haven't read this book, and so now I'm going to read this book for sure. And that is The Fifth Wave by Rick Yancey. So if you guys don't know what this book's about, this book is about this alien invasion that comes in waves. So the first wave was like Lights Out, the second wave was Surf's Up, the third wave was Pestilence, the fourth wave was Silencer, and then there's this fifth wave. They're in the fifth wave right now when the book starts. And I don't know what the fifth wave is yet, but I'm going to find out. This girl named Cassie, and she's trying to find her brother because her brother was taken by the aliens. And so she's trying to find her brother, and in the process she meets this boy named Evan Walker, and they try and find him together, and then they meet this group of people that's trying to, I guess, take down the aliens or something. I have no clue. But I can't wait to read this book. I've heard amazing things about it, and I'm really excited because I really am in a kind of a sci-fi mood right now, right after I finish the contemporary book I'm reading. I know that I'm just gonna dive into this book and not want to stop. I'm looking forward to reading this book though, and can't wait to speak to you guys how I feel about it. Okay, after I finish that book, I am finally reading Outlander by Diana Gabaldon. Right here. It's happening, it's gonna happen. I'm gonna like ingest all of the goodness of it, and I'm gonna like find out why Jamie is so unbelievably amazing, and I'm gonna find out what happens to Claire, and I'm gonna find it out. I'm gonna find out all of it that happens in this book. So yeah, it's gonna happen this month, you guys. Not even a question. Not even a question. It's happening, and I'm not gonna let anything stop me. Nothing. You guys didn't know what that book was about. It's about a woman who touches this boulder rock thing, and she gets transported to the 17th century. And when she touches this boulder, she's in Scotland. So you find a lot about Scottish history, and there's this men in kilts, and I'm so excited to read it because I love Scotland. I love Scotland so much. So yeah. And following my band of reading, if I can get to it this month, of reading Harry Potter, I'm going to read Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, and I'm so excited. Oh my gosh, this is one of my favorites in the series. It's actually a lot of everyone's least favorite, but I really love it because it's like the middle book to like them becoming really teenagers, and like it's like them when they're at the youngest age, but not too young. They're like older, but they're not the older, if that makes any sense. And so I really love this one, and I can't wait to read it if I can get to it this month, if I have the time. But I will make the time for Harry Potter because it's Harry Potter. I mean, you make the time for Harry Potter because it's Harry Potter, people. Come on. So yes, I'm going to also be reading this one this month, and I'm very excited about that. So those are the books that I'm essentially reading in January. If I can get to any more, there's a few more that I want to read, but I don't really want to show them to you because, you know, time issue. But yeah, those are the books that I want to read in January, and you guys saw the books that I already read in December and November. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Keep doing the reading thing, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye guys!